The dodo was an easy meal. They called it the wolgogol, which means disgusting bird, probably because its meat was tough. But when you're starving, you're not picky. The sailors hunted the dodos, which, having never known a predator, were incredibly easy to catch. They would just walk right up to the hunters, completely unaware of the danger. But direct hunting wasn't even the biggest problem. The real devastation came from the uninvited guests the sailors brought with them. On board their ships were rats, pigs, and monkeys. These animals were released onto the island either by accident or on purpose. For the dodo, this was a catastrophe. The pigs would eat the same fruits the dodos relied on, competing for food. But worse, much worse, were the rats and monkeys. The dodo built its nest on the ground, a simple pile of palm leaves with a single precious egg inside. These new invaders, the rats and monkeys, found these ground nests to be an easy feast. They devoured the dodo eggs and chicks, wiping out the next generation before it even had a chance to hatch. The dodos were trapped. Their home was being destroyed, their food was being stolen, and their young were being eaten. They couldn't fly away to escape. They had evolved for a world that no longer existed. The forest itself was also changing. The sailors began to cut down the native ebony trees, destroying the dodo's habitat piece by piece. The delicate ecosystem of Mauritius, which had been stable for millions of years, was collapsing in just a few decades. The dodo's world was shrinking, and it had nowhere else to go. It was an island dweller, a specialist, perfectly adapted to one place and one place only. The decline was shockingly fast. Imagine a species that had thrived for eons suddenly facing an onslaught of threats it was completely unprepared for. It was a perfect storm of destruction. Hunting by humans, predation on its eggs by invasive species, and the loss of its forest home. It's a heartbreaking story of vulnerability. The very traits that had allowed the dodo to succeed for so long, its flight and its fearlessness, became its greatest weaknesses in this new, hostile world. The last confirmed sighting of a dodo was in 1662. A shipwrecked sailor named Volkert Everts described his encounter with the bird. After that, silence. In less than 100 years from the moment humans arrived, the dodo was gone, completely and utterly extinct. For a long time, people even thought the dodo was a myth, a sailor's tall tale. It seemed too strange to be real. It wasn't until the 19th century, when scientists found dodo bones in a swamp on Mauritius, that the world finally accepted that this incredible bird had truly existed and was lost forever. The story of the dodo is more than just a sad tale about a goofy-looking bird. It's a powerful lesson. It was the first time that humans clearly understood that their actions could cause a species to vanish from the face of the earth. The phrase "dead as a dodo" became a common saying, a symbol for final, irreversible extinction. The dodo became the poster child for conservation, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and our responsibility to protect it. When we look at old drawings of the dodo, we see a creature that seems almost mythical, but it was real. It was a product of a unique evolutionary journey on a remote island. It lived in peace for an unimaginable amount of time, a flightless, fearless bird in its own private paradise. Its end was swift, brutal, and entirely caused by us, not just through hunting, but through the careless disruption of its world. The dodo didn't stand a chance. Its story forces us to look at our own impact on the planet. Today, Mauritius is a different place. Most of its native forest is gone, and many of its other unique species are also endangered. But the memory of the dodo lives on. It's on the nation's coat of arms, a symbol of national identity, but also a permanent emblem of loss. Scientists are still studying its bones, trying to piece together every last detail about its life. Some even talk about the futuristic idea of de-extinction, using DNA to bring the dodo back. Whether that's possible or even a good idea is a huge debate, but it shows how deeply the dodo story has affected us. The dodo's legacy is a cautionary tale written in the pages of history. It teaches us that ecosystems are delicate, that introducing new species can have devastating consequences, and that a lack of fear can be fatal when the world suddenly changes. It's a story of innocence lost, a reminder that the creatures we share this planet with are vulnerable, and that extinction is forever. The dodo may be gone, but it should never be forgotten. Its story is a call to action for all of us to be better stewards of our worlds so that no other species has to go the way of the dodo. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as moving as I did, please like this video and subscribe for more journeys into our planet's incredible past. Picture this, a tropical island, untouched by humans, filled with strange and wonderful creatures. Among them, a peculiar flightless bird waddles through the lush forests. It's plump, with a large hooked beak, and it seems completely unafraid of anything. This is the dodo, a bird that has become the ultimate symbol of extinction. But how did this unique creature, once thriving in its island paradise, vanish from the face of the earth? And why does its story still captivate us centuries later? Join us as we journey back in time to the island of Mauritius to uncover the tragic tale of the dodo. Before we dive into its demise, let's get to know the dodo a little better. The dodo, or Rhaphis cucullatus, was a large flightless bird endemic to the island of Mauritius, located in the Indian Ocean. It was a relative of pigeons and doves, which might sound surprising given its size. An adult dodo stood about 3 feet tall and could weigh over 40 pounds. Its appearance was certainly unique, with greyish-blue plumage. A tuft of curly feathers on its rear end, tiny wings, and stout yellow legs. Its most striking feature was its large, bulbous beak with a hooked tip, which it likely used to crack open hard-shelled fruits and nuts that made up its diet. For millions of years, the dodo lived a peaceful existence. Mauritius was a paradise with no natural predators. Without the need to escape danger, the dodo gradually lost its ability to fly. Its wings shrunk, and its body grew heavy. Why waste energy on flight when everything you need is on the ground and there's nothing to run or fly from? This evolutionary path, known as secondary flightlessness, is common in island species. The dodo was perfectly adapted to its environment. It was a successful species, living in harmony with its surroundings. But this peaceful isolation, which had protected it for so long, would ultimately become its greatest vulnerability. The stage was set for a tragedy, and the arrival of a new, highly effective predator would seal its fate. In 1598, the world of the dodo was turned upside down. Dutch sailors, led by Vice Admiral Wybrand van Warwick, were the first humans to make a documented landing on Mauritius. To these wary sailors, the island was a treasure trove of fresh water and food. And there, waddling right up to them, were the dodos. Having never encountered predators, these birds were utterly fearless. They were described as tame and unafraid, walking directly into the sailors' camps. This lack of fear, which we now call island tameness, made them incredibly easy to hunt. Sailors could simply walk up and club them. The Dutch called them waldvogels, which translates to disgusting birds or loathsome birds, apparently because their meat was tough and not very tasty. But for hungry men who had been at sea for months, beggars couldn't be choosers. Dodos were